Discovered, the incredible translation that changed the life of a cleaning lady forever. Maria never thought she'd make headlines. Every morning, as the sun peeked over the sleepy suburb of Maplewood, she'd slip out before dawn, quietly leaving her tiny apartment behind. Her worn-out vacuum and mop were more than tools, they were symbols of her relentless pursuit of a better life for her two children, Sophia and Diego. She walked the polished halls of opulent homes that whispered of wealth, where her hard work was often met with indifference. How could a cleaning lady, invisible to the world, leave a mark? Yet, buried deep in her heart, she dreamed of something more. For Maria, the struggle was all-consuming. Days blurred into nights, and the familiar weight of prejudice hung heavily on her shoulders. She felt like an outsider in a community that celebrated the American dream, while she merely aimed to keep the electricity on and food on the table. Often, Sophia and Diego would cling to her, eyes wide with confusion, asking why people treated their mother like she was invisible. Each question tugged at her heart. She wanted to shield them from the world's harsh judgments, to teach them resilience and respect despite her own struggles. One fateful afternoon, inside the bustling community center, everything changed. Maria stumbled across an immigrant family fighting to fill out forms. They looked lost and scared, their eyes searching for a lifeline. Seeing their plight, something ignited within her. Words flowed easily, a melody of translation that unified their hopes. She felt a spark, a rhythm that had been dormant for years. Helping them sparked a flicker of hope, and as she continued her volunteer work, her voice began to emerge, and so did her confidence. People listened. They connected. A tapestry of shared dreams started to weave around her, igniting hope, drawing others together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But when whispers of an upcoming community event reached her, excitement twisted into a knot of anxiety. The thought of showcasing her work terrified her. "You're just a cleaning lady," those voices taunted, pushing her back into the shadows of doubt. Everything she had fought for seemed to unravel before her. This opportunity could either lift her or crush her spirit further. After a heated argument with Diego, their jagged fears and desires collided. "Why can't I be proud of you, Mom?" he shouted, tears cutting through the tension. In that moment, Maria felt a rawness within a tight chest, a desperate ache. She stood alone in the cramped living room that evening, staring at the translated pages. Each one held the weight of her dreams, a potential future that felt just out of reach. As the days leading up to the event dwindled to a few, an unsettling urgency enveloped her. What defined her? She thought about her strength, her voice. On that destined day, with a racing heart, she approached the microphone, ready to stand tall. Would she be seen, or would she slip back into the shadows that had long defined her existence? Only time would tell. Maria's breath quickened as she stepped onto the small, makeshift stage. The community center was packed. People buzzed with chatter, a mix of anticipation and curiosity. Beneath the bright lights, she could see familiar faces of her neighbors, the families she had helped, and even a few of the wealthier clients she cleaned for. Each person held a piece of her heart, yet now her heart thudded loudly against her ribs. "Mom!" Sophia's soft voice reached her through the chatter. Maria's gaze darted to her daughter, who stood among the crowd holding a nervous Diego by the hand. Their hopeful smiles mirrored Maria's resolute determination to push through her fears. It gave her strength, yet those dark whispers emerged again. "You're just a cleaning lady." She shook her head, dispelling the shackles of doubt. Her hand trembled as she grasped the microphone. The hum of the crowd faded, replaced by the pounding of her pulse. Heart racing, she cleared her throat, the sound sharp in the thick air. Hello everyone, she began, her voice barely a whisper. She steadied herself, breathing deeply. My name is Maria, and I stand before you today with a story that is my own, but belongs to all of us. Each word, once a phantom in the back of her mind, now became a lifeline. She spoke about the immigrant family she had helped, about the shared struggles and triumphs that bonded them together. Her words became a song, each phrase wrapped in emotion. The audience leaned forward, some nodding, others teary-eyed. As she spoke, Maria felt the weight of years of invisibility beginning to lift. Each story she shared transformed into a bridge, connecting her to those who had once seemed unreachable. She found power in vulnerability. Her voice grew stronger, more assured. She talked about helping others navigate the maze of forms and language barriers, bringing laughter and joy to those who felt overwhelmed. Together we can build a community that supports each other, that stands as one, she said, stretching her arms wide, embracing everyone in the room. Applause erupted, echoing through the hall. It was a sound she had never expected to hear aimed at her. It washed over her like a warm wave, wrapping her in acceptance and love. The anxiety that had gripped her moments before melted away, replaced by a surge of hope and pride. But just as the joy soared, amidst the clapping, a familiar voice rose above the crowd. You're still just a cleaning lady. A familiar face from the neighborhood, a woman Maria had served, piped up, her tone harsh. The applause dulled. Heads turned. With her heart racing, Maria felt like a balloon tethered by fear. She could shrink back, retreat into her shell, but she remembered Diego's teary appeal, the urgency she felt in that cluttered apartment. No, she whispered to herself, grounding herself in the moment. Being a cleaning lady is not a limitation, it's part of my strength. She said, channeling the warmth of her earlier stories. My work is my pride, and today, I stand here to show you that every one of us has a voice worth hearing. The energy shifted. Conversations buzzed, and applause broke out once more. The earlier voice faded against the swell of this new energy. Maria felt buoyed, and for the first time, she truly belonged. As she stepped back from the microphone, the cheers still ringing in her ears, she locked eyes with Diego. His eyes sparkled with admiration, and Sophia's small frame jumped up and down in excitement. In that moment, Maria understood, she had ignited something deeper than just a speech. But before she could let the emotions wash over her fully, the lights flickered. The audience quieted as an unexpected hush enveloped the room. The organizer stepped forward, a worried look on his face. We have an important announcement to make. Maria's heart dropped. What could that mean? What were they about to reveal? The answers hung in the air, heavy and uncertain. She felt both hope and fear collide as the unexpected loomed ahead. Maria's heart raced as she watched the organizer shuffle a stack of papers, his brow furrowed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today, he began, his voice steady but laced with apprehension. We've gathered to discuss something that could change many lives in our community. Whispers filled the room, and Maria could feel the weight of every anxious gaze. The applause from her speech still lingered in the air, yet the anticipation now felt like a double-edged sword, heavy with both promise and uncertainty. Recently, our organization has been working on a project to support local families, especially those in need. We have a grant that will allow us to sponsor community-based initiatives, workshops, support groups, scholarships. He paused, looking genuinely conflicted. But a knot formed in Maria's stomach. But what? She whispered to herself. But there's a catch. We need someone to be the face of this project, a spokesperson who can bridge the gap between us and the community we want to help. We believe that person could be. Maria's breath hitched. All eyes flickered toward her, tearing away the professional mask she had worn during her speech. Oh no, not me. She thought, but the murmurs spiraled into conversation. Maria, someone shouted from the crowd. Her friend Rosa stood, her arm raised, a smile spreading across her face. You've done it already. You've inspired us. You're the one we need. The applause climbed again, and Maria felt like she was back at the front, juggling emotions for everyone. Sweaty palms. Heart thumping. What if I can't do it? She could feel the doubts creeping in, threatening to shadow the exhilaration of earlier. Would she be letting everyone down if she couldn't deliver? The organizer cleared his throat. This project could benefit so many families like yours, Maria. We were hoping if you accept, we need you to speak, share your story, but more importantly to lead a new initiative. Can you do that? The weight of his words settled on her chest like an anchor. Part of her wanted to scream, "No, I'm still just a cleaning lady." But she wasn't just that. Not anymore. She looked up to meet Diego's eyes, wide with hope and encouragement. "Mom, you can do it," he mouthed, his small fingers curled tightly around Sophia's. Breath escaping her lungs, Maria lifted the microphone again, sensing the audience's eager anticipation. "What I've shared, it's not just my story, it's ours. If I could stand here today, I can lead this. I will try," she declared, the words tumbling out before she had time to question them. Cheers erupted, shaking the walls of the community center, each clap filling her with warmth. For the first time, she felt the thrill of possibility so powerful that fear receded into the background. But just as the crowd began to settle, a sudden crash echoed from the corner of the room. Everyone turned. A young man burst through the door, panting, eyes wild. "You need to hear this. It's urgent. The grant is at risk." Maria's heart sank again, the joy shifting into a sense of impending dread. What did that mean for her and the people she hoped to help? The weight of the moment crashed down around her, and she wondered, could this opportunity slip through her fingers before it even began? The crowd shifted uneasily, murmurs rising once more, and Maria felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. Would she be more than just a cleaning lady, or was this realization of community slipping away? The atmosphere in the room thickened with tension. Maria's heart raced once more, but not from exhilaration this time. The words "the grant is at risk" echoed in her mind like a relentless drumbeat, drowning out the applause and cheers that had filled the air just moments before. She scanned the faces around her, disbelief, confusion, and concern painted their expressions. "Wait. What do you mean?" Rosa called out, stepping forward, her face taut with worry. The young man, still catching his breath, raised his hands to silence the crowd. "Listen. I overheard a conversation outside. There's been a change in funding. The organization that awarded us the grant is re-evaluating all projects due to budget cuts." His eyes darted around, searching the crowd, landing finally on Maria. "They think many initiatives might be too risky. They may pull the funding." Maria felt a cold sweat on her brow. The dreams she had momentarily held on to now felt like fragile glass, ready to shatter into a million pieces. All those families, the workshops, the scholarships, everything could be lost. She took a step back, her hands gripping the edge of the podium for support. "What can we do?" Someone shouted from the back, sparking a murmur of urgency throughout the room. "Yes, what can we do?" Maria echoed, surprising herself with the plea. This was no time to panic. She needed to harness this storm of emotions into action. Diego's eyes shone with fear and faith, and she understood that she had to transform that uncertainty into something stronger, something actionable. "We need to rally together. We can't let this opportunity slip away. If they feel our unity, our strength." Maria's voice wavered, but she knew she must continue. "We should organize a community meeting. We can show them how vital this project is for us, for our future. We can't back down now." The crowd responded immediately. They began to chatter excitedly, ideas bubbling over each other like a pot about to boil. Each suggestion fueled Maria's resolve. A social media campaign, a letter-writing initiative, a community-wide forum all began to take shape around her. Ideas transformed from whispers into clear actions. For the first time, she felt the true weight of leadership settle at her shoulders, accompanied by a tingling adrenaline rush. Still, a nagging doubt flickered in her mind. Was this really the right move? Did she have the strength to face another challenge? In that uncertainty, she caught Diego's gaze again. His expression radiated trust and pride, and in that moment, Maria understood. "What about you?" the young man who had burst through the door said, looking at her intensely. "What role will you play in this?" Despair budded anew as she hesitated. Could she be the one to mobilize everyone? Were her words strong enough to ignite the passion they all felt? Her thoughts tugged her back to the bubbling anxieties she had felt just earlier. I will lead," she finally said, each word bolstered by the cheers around her. It was a promise to herself and to her community. She could do this. They could turn fear into momentum, doubts into determination. But as the energy surged, a voice piped up from the back again, "What if we go to the city council? Will they listen to us?" Maria paused. That was bigger than she had anticipated. The thought came with its own weight, but also a glimmer of hope. What if she could stand there not as a cleaning lady but as a representative of her community? Would their collective strength be enough to turn this thing around? She looked out at the buzz of excitement, her heart swelling with renewed possibility. But somewhere deep inside, she felt a tightening knot of anxiety. Maria cleared her throat, determination rising in her chest. "Let us make them listen." As the crowd erupted into determined chatter, Maria couldn't shake the thought that amidst this surge of passion, there would be more that they would face. And maybe, just maybe, with all their voices merged together, they could change the fate of not just one project but the lives of every family that depended on it. But as the crowd clamored and plans began taking shape, Maria couldn't help but wonder, would it be enough? Would they find a way to show the council the power of community before the grant slipped away for good? As the community buzzed with ideas, Maria felt a sense of urgency settling deeper into her bones. She watched people start to pair off, fervently discussing plans while others grabbed their phones, eager to connect with friends and allies. The volume in the room escalated, each voice adding to the chorus of anticipation. "Let South meet at the park tomorrow." Someone shouted over the noise. "We can bring posters, set up tables, make it festive." Versatile. Maria thought, her mind racing. A festival could help them attract local attention, potentially even draw in some media coverage. Yet, amidst the excitement, another thought nagged at her. How would she convince the council, made up of people disconnected from their struggles and dreams? She felt the weight of that expectation pressing down on her shoulders. "Listen up," she called, allowing herself to take on the role of their unofficial leader. The room quieted. "I love where this is headed, but we need a plan. A solid plan. Journey together, everyone passionate about these workshops and scholarships." The murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, emboldening her. "Rosa, can you lead on the social media push?" Maria asked, her voice steady. Rosa nodded earnestly, her earlier worry replaced with determination. "And what about letters to the council?" Someone from the back chimed in. "Yes," Maria exclaimed. "We can get everyone involved. Each family tell their story, how this project has changed their lives. Personal stories resonate." Diego stepped closer to her, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "What about a video? We can share stories, showcase our work, and wrap it in a powerful emotional bow when the council gets it. They have to see what's at stake." "Great idea," Maria said, heart racing. This was it, they were building momentum. "We'll put it all together. Let us combine our emotional stories with visuals. The energy in this room proves that we have something special. If we harness it, they will listen." As conversations sparked and plans took shape, a flicker of fear crawled back. She recalled the countless other initiatives that had fallen short, their hopes extinguished under bureaucratic indifference. Could they actually succeed where others had struggled? The thought clawed at her as Diego leaned toward her, sensing her doubt. Maria, this is different. Look at us. This community cares. You inspire us, you bring us together. His reassurance struck a chord deep within her. She could feel the collective heartbeat of the group pulsing hope and fear, excitement and anxiety, and she had to respond. All right, she said, louder this time, channeling her inner strength. We'll meet every evening this week. We'll work hard, and when we stand before the council, it will be as one unified voice. Cheers erupted around her, a tidal wave of enthusiasm that sent a rush through her veins. But the monster of doubt still lingered in the back of her mind. What if they did everything right, yet nothing changed? As the night wound down, the attendees left, their energy still buzzed in the air. But that doubt turned bitter in her stomach, festering as she looked at the now empty room. She needed to rally their spirits, she needed to believe. Can we really make a difference? She whispered to herself, the words hanging thick in the air. Just as she stood there alone, staring at the empty space where a vibrant hope once flowed, her phone buzzed. An email notification from the grant organization filled her screen with new information details concerning the impending review. Her breath hitched. This could change everything. Should she read it now, or wait until morning? The decision loomed, heavy as the weight of everything she was fighting for. Would facing the truth now strengthen her resolve, or would it crush her spirit before she could even begin? Maria took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest. The email felt like a ticking clock, each second weighing heavier than the last. With trembling fingers, she opened the message, and a rush of cold air seemed to swirl around her. Dear Maria, it began. Her eyes skated over the words, soaking in the details as they flared with potential. The grant could be theirs, but only if they proved their worth to the council. Her hope wavered and surged like a tide, threatening to drown her in its intensity. $5,000, she mumbled under her breath, nearly whispering the figures like a prayer. It could mean scholarships, workshops for the children, resources for families. But it also meant they had to present a compelling case, a mountain of evidence that their cause was justified, worthy of investment. Thoughts collided, and she struggled to sort them out. Maria could visualize the students, their faces lighting up when they received their first scholarship. The mothers bustling with motivation, gathering around tables teeming with plans and dreams. It was all within reach. But first, they had to shine a light on their struggles. Just then, the door creaked open. It was Diego, returning to gather his things before heading home. His face was lit with curiosity as he approached her. What's wrong? I just got the email from the grant organization, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper, as if afraid the words would break something. We're going to need to prove ourselves. We can't afford to fail. Diego nodded and approached closer, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. Then let's get started. We're all in this together, remember? She felt a spark ignite within. Yes. Together. That was the strength of their community. Individually, they might feel small, but united, they were a force. All right, she said, her resolve firming. Tomorrow at the park, we spread the word and gather more stories. Everyone's experience counts. We need to gather as much material as we can. With that plan set, Diego's eyes shone with excitement. Let us make this video unforgettable. Capture the essence of what this means for everyone. When they see it, they'll have no choice but to listen. As she left the hall, thoughts of the council loomed. They had to open their hearts and weave their realities into something undeniable. She was ready to fight back against the doubt that threatened to consume her. The next day arrived bright and clear, and an electric buzz filled the park. Colorful posters adorned tables, carefully crafted by eager hands. Music floated on the air, blending with laughter and lively chatter as the community poured in. Maria could feel the energy like a warm embrace. As the crowd gathered, she stepped to the front, armed with a megaphone and the unwavering spirit of her neighbors. Thank you all for coming. She called out, her voice trembling with unspent energy. She locked eyes with the crowd, searching for the reassurance she needed. This is our moment. Let the world see who we are. The cheers that followed sent a wave of warmth through her. With each person who approached sharing cryptic anecdotes and heartfelt narratives, Maria felt the puzzle pieces of their collective story coming together. Yet, as the festivity unfolded, a sense of dread crept in. What if the stories they built fell flat? They needed a spark, something to ignite the board members' interest. Hey, Maria! A voice broke through her thoughts. It was Rosa, tightly holding a smartphone. Can I film some of these stories? What if we capture their emotions on video right now? Maria's heart quickened. It was a brilliant idea. Yes. That's it. She exclaimed, a smile breaking wide across her face as she clapped her hands together. Let us bring out the heart of our community. Every voice counts. As Rosa moved around, interviewing people, a sense of hope blossomed anew. But beneath the excitement swirled that familiar doubt. The council could still look at their passion without emotion. Is this really the way to go? She muttered quietly. As the day wore on, something unexpected happened. A young girl named Sophia approached Maria, clutching a folded piece of paper. Miss Maria, she whispered, her eyes serious and sincere, I wrote a letter to the council. Can you help me read it? Maria knelt down, heart swelling with warmth. What was this child about to share? She reached for the paper, feeling its destiny ripple through her fingertips, unaware this small act might just be the key to what they all sought. Could this child's words turn the tide? Would this innocent, unfiltered plea be the compelling argument they desperately needed? As Maria read the first line, she felt every emotion she had been grappling with yearn for clarity. Could this be the spark they needed? Maria held the paper firmly, her heart racing like a drum in her ears. Sophia's small voice faded as she focused on the neatly written words. It was a letter addressed to the council, and as she read each line, she marveled at the depth of thought from someone so young. Dear members of the council, it began, my name is Sophia, and I am 10 years old. I want to tell you why our community needs this grant. We are a mix of families, all trying our best. With each phrase, Maria felt a surge of emotion. It was more than just a letter, it was a raw expression of hope. Sophia had poured out her heart, explaining how scholarships could change lives, unlocking doors to dreams that otherwise seemed unreachable. I want to be a doctor, Sophia continued, but my mom always tells me that money is hard to get. She works very hard and sometimes she is sad. I want to make her happy. If we had this grant, I could go to school and learn. Please help us. Maria's eyes glistened with tears as she looked up at Sophia. This is beautiful, she said, her voice cracking slightly. It captures everything we've been fighting for. The little girl beamed with pride. Do you think they will listen? Maria smiled, though inside she grappled with the weight of responsibility. They have to. Your words are powerful, Sophia. We just need to share them. Suddenly, an excited shout broke through the moment. Diego was waving his arms, gathering the crowd's attention again. All right, everyone. We have a special surprise. Sophia is going to share her letter with us. The crowd fell silent as Sophia stepped forward shyly but determined. Maria couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. The crowd parted to give her room, and in that moment, Sophia transformed from a timid girl into a brave speaker ready to reveal her heart. As she stood there, the sunlight caught her hair, illuminating her small figure. She took a deep breath and began to read, her voice resonating through the park like a soft bell. With each word, her confidence grew, and Maria watched, mesmerized by the power of vulnerability. The community listened intently, many wiping away tears. Families shared glances that spoke volumes. There was understanding, empathy, and an unspoken solidarity in the air. As Sophia finished, the crowd erupted in applause. Maria felt a wave of relief and energy wash over her. But as the cheers faded, a thought gnawed at her. Did they have enough? Was one heartfelt moment enough to sway the council? Her fear of inadequacy flickered back, reminding her of the long road ahead. "Let us make sure everyone has their story to share," Maria said as she took Sophia's hand. "We need to provide the council with more than passion. They need facts, proof, the voices of everyone here. Let us keep recording." Rosa chimed in enthusiastically. "We can compile their stories to showcase our community's joy and struggles." The crowd buzzed again, this time infused with renewed determination. Hour after hour, they filmed, documented, and painted a tapestry of truth and resilience that only a community could create. Yet, that sleepless doubt lingered in the back of Maria's mind, a constant reminder of what was at stake. Would this be enough? As the day began to wane, a familiar face caught Maria's attention. It was her neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez, standing away from the crowd. He looked pensive, his brow furrowed. Curiosity piqued, she walked over to him. "Mr. Rodriguez, do you want to share your story?" she asked gently, sensing something was off. He shook his head, a shadow crossing his face. "I don't know if my voice matters, Maria. Sometimes, it feels like no one listens." Her heart ached for him. "But it does matter. It absolutely matters. We need everyone. Your story is important." Would his hesitation hold them back? What deeper truths was he hiding? The day was not over. They could find the strength together as long as they embraced every voice, every story, even the ones that felt insignificant. But would Mr. Rodriguez finally step forward, or would his silence speak louder than the truth they all sought? Maria could feel the weight of Mr. Rodriguez's silence settling between them, heavy and unnerving. She looked into his eyes, searching for the spark of hope she knew was buried under layers of doubt. "You're not alone, Mr. Rodriguez," she urged, her voice low and earnest. "Everyone here has their struggles. Sharing can lighten that load." He glanced back at the crowd, a mixture of longing and fear etched on his face. With a sigh, he replied, "But my story, it's just noise in the wind. No one wants to hear about a man who lost everything." "Maybe that's the point," Maria insisted, feeling her pulse quicken. "Your story might resonate with someone else here. Everyone's story matters, even the difficult ones. If we don't share those moments, how can we hope to connect?" She glanced back at the gathering of families, united in their struggles and dreams. Maria saw Sophia off to the side, animatedly talking to friends, her spirit still alight from her empowering moment. "Do it for her," Maria whispered, feeling a surge of determination. "Tell your story to inspire her and others like her. If we want change, we must break through that wall together." A flicker of indecision crossed Mr. Rodriguez's face, but Maria saw a glimmer of understanding. "I lost my job last year," he began, his voice cracking slightly. "It was hard watching my family struggle, but I just kept finding my way back to cleaning jobs, working late, early mornings. It felt never-ending." Around them, the crowd had quieted, shifting their attention toward Mr. Rodriguez. As he spoke, his shoulders started to relax, and Maria leaned in, a sense of urgency in her chest. "I wanted to be a teacher," he confessed. "But life took a turn. I wasn't educated in the ways that mattered anymore, and I felt trapped." He paused, his eyes misty. "I thought my dreams vanished like dust in the corners of the rooms I clean." A murmur spread through the audience. Some faces were filled with compassion, while others reflected their own hidden struggles. Maria felt the energy in the air change. This was what they needed. "It's okay to feel lost, Mr. Rodriguez," someone from the crowd called out, their voice steady. "But it's not too late. Your dreams can find a way back." He took a deep breath, the encouragement fueling his courage. "I don't want Sophia to feel trapped. I want a better future for her and all the kids in our community." As he spoke, Maria could see the spark igniting in others. One by one, people began to share their own stories of losses, of pain but also of resilience. It echoed through the park, a symphony of voices that intertwined. Diego beamed with pride, capturing every emotion, pressing buttons and adjusting angles, as the crowd's stories flowed freely. Maria felt her heart swell. This was beautiful and honest weaving of real-life threads, a quilt of connection forged in vulnerability. They were laying the foundation for change, brick by brick, word by word. Yet beneath the joy, Maria still felt a coil of anxiety. Would the council hear them? Would they understand? As the sun dipped below the horizon, she noticed Mr. Rodriguez still standing strong. What if it's not enough? He asked, his voice breaking through the cheering. Then we keep going, Maria replied, looking around at her friends, her community. We keep sharing until they listen. Every story matters. But in the midst of hope, a question loomed large in her mind: what if not every voice would speak out? Suddenly, the weight of their task felt heavier. Would they find a way to unify all these voices before the council meeting? Determination swirled in her heart, and she offered a reassuring smile to Mr. Rodriguez. This is just the beginning. Together, we'll make sure every story is heard. Yet deep inside, Maria couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest stories were still waiting to be told. Who else among them harbored their own fears? Would hidden voices emerge, or would they remain silent? The next steps felt uncertain, but one thing was clear: their battle had only just begun, and the real test was yet to come. The cool evening air wrapped around Maria as the crowd slowly dispersed, lingering whispers and laughter fading into the night. But the excitement of the moment lingered like smoke, thick with the possibilities of tomorrow. She watched as Mr. Rodriguez stepped away, still deep in thought. Maria. A familiar voice broke through her reverie. It was Sophia, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Did you see how Mr. Rodriguez was talking? He was really brave. Yes, he was, Maria replied, a smile breaking across her face. And you played a big part in that. He wanted to make sure you and the other kids have hope for the future. Sophia nodded, a child's confidence radiating from her. I want to tell my story, too. If he can do it, then so can I. Maria's heart swelled with pride. She looked into Sophia's determined gaze, feeling energized by the youth's conviction. Absolutely. Your story is just as important, Sophia. When we share, we build a strong community. We can show everyone the beauty of our experiences. Just then, a shout came from the other side of the park. Hey, everyone! We're still here. It was Diego, rallying the others for one more gathering. Come on, let us go. Sophia grabbed Maria by the hand, urging her forward. Before Maria could respond, they were weaving through the crowd, where faces lit up again with the warmth of shared purpose. They settled together in a circle, the atmosphere crackling with renewed energy. Each voice that emerged created a palette of experiences. The tones of sorrow and joy blended together to create music that echoed through the twilight. Maria listened intently as one by one, people began to share. A woman spoke of her struggles as a single mother, a young man shared the difficulties of balancing multiple jobs while studying, a retired veteran revealed his battles with isolation after returning home. Maria could feel the weight of these stories resting on her heart, not in a burdensome way, but as an invitation to understand and connect. As voices rose, tears fell. Laughter broke through occasional silence, painting the air with hope. It was a beautiful cacophony, proof of resilience wrapped neatly in the bonds of community. Let us write down our stories, suggested Diego, his enthusiasm infectious. We can gather them all and present them to the council. They need to see how we stand together. Maria's eyes lit up. That's a great idea. If we can show them our strength in numbers and diversity, they may begin to understand our true needs. Sophia's hand shot up. But what if someone doesn't want to share? Can we still help them? At that, Maria felt a pang in her heart, realizing the unspoken fears could hold many back. We embrace every story, even those that remain silent. We listen, we support, and we uplift what we can. The crowd nodded, some murmuring agreements. But deep down, Maria understood the challenge. Would they be able to pull everyone together, even those who were unsure? As they began jotting down their thoughts, a shadow moved at the edge of the park. Someone watched them from afar. Maria squinted into the dim light, trying to catch a glimpse. "Hey, who's that?" she whispered to Sophia, her heart pounding. Sophia followed her gaze but didn't answer. Instead, they both watched the figure linger, the uncertainty of the moment hanging heavy in the air. Whoever it was, they seemed to be drawn to the light of their gathering. And as Maria turned back to the group, she realized something extraordinary: their stories had the power to ignite change, to turn onlookers into allies. Would they draw in that stranger? The thrill of anticipation buzzed in her veins. What would happen next? Would they be able to connect with even the quietest voices in their community and amplify each plea for change before their meeting with the council? The mystery remained, but hope flickered brightly ahead. As the night deepened, the park pulsed with a unique energy, each shared story boosting the community's strength. Maria couldn't ignore the thrill of possibility swirling around her. The lingering shadow at the edge of the crowd turned out to be Mr. Rodriguez, standing alone, watching quietly. With a gentle nudge from Sophia, Maria approached him. "Mr. Rodriguez," she called, a smile warming her voice. "Would you like to join us?" At first, he hesitated, uncertainty flickering across his face. But then, with a deep breath and a nod, he stepped forward. "I suppose I can share a few more thoughts," he admitted, his voice filled with newfound courage. Maria felt her heart swell. This was the moment they needed. As Mr. Rodriguez joined the circle, another voice piped up from the back. It was a teenager, barely taller than Sophia, who spoke hesitantly. "I have a story too, about how hard it is to balance school and helping my parents." Maria felt her heart leap. As more faces turned toward the boy, one by one, they began sharing. The circle expanded, stories blossomed like flowers in spring. Each tale filled the air with bravery, weaving a tapestry of experiences that made everyone feel a little less alone. They were no longer just individuals with struggles, they were a united front, standing together in a fight for a better future. But while hope soared, a nagging thought whispered in Maria's mind. Were they truly prepared for the council? Were their stories strong enough to make an impact? "Let us not just share our struggles," she said, raising her voice to capture their attention. "Let us also share our dreams. What do we want for our community?" Inspired by her words, the group began to outline their dreams alongside their struggles. "I want free tutoring for kids," someone shouted. "We need job support for parents," shouted another. Soon the air was electric with ideas, building blocks for a future where dreams weren't just mere aspirations but attainable realities. "Let us build a petition," Diego suggested, eyes shining with excitement. "We can gather signatures and show how many people support these changes." "Yes," Maria echoed, grounded in a rush of optimism. "If we demonstrate our collective voices clearly, the council will have no choice but to listen." As the night wore on, the group got to work. They wrote, they planned, they laughed, and they cried. Voices lifted, and Maria felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were digging deep into what it meant to belong, to care, and to create change. But deep down, shadows still lurked. Would their hard work be enough? Just as doubt began to creep in, she noticed the same figure from earlier, lingering in the background. The stranger hadn't left. Instead, they approached the gathering slowly. "Hi, I'm Elena," she introduced herself when she finally reached them. Her face held a mixture of curiosity and caution. "I'm here because I saw everyone coming together and I wanted to know more." Elena's presence was like a bright light illuminating the group's path. Maria welcomed her warmly, excitement rising again. "We love to have you. We're sharing stories to bring awareness to our community's needs. Do you have a story to share?" With flushed cheeks, Elena nodded, her voice soft yet steady. "I work as a waitress while going to school. Sometimes I can't afford my textbooks, and I worry I might not graduate." The crowd listened intently as she spoke, each word into the glowing warmth of their collective experience. And just like that, Elena was no longer a stranger but part of their family of voices. As the community gathered steadily, Maria saw everyone's fears and hopes reflected in each face, and through their connections, those shadows began to dissolve. But the looming council meeting remained, a specter of doubt unsolved. "Tomorrow, we prepare for the council," Maria finally said. "We have to present as one. We won't just fight for ourselves but for every voice that hasn't yet been heard." Votes of agreement filled the air, bolstering her resolve. "We will rise, together," she called, and cheers erupted once more. This was their moment to seize. But as the group dispersed, the weight on Maria's heart lingered. How would they ensure every voice echoed their truth? Were their stories unified enough to make a ripple in the council? With the night's weight of their task still heavy, Maria leaned down to check on Sophia, who was bundled in her coat and ready for bed. "Mom," she asked sleepily, "do you think we'll make a difference?" Maria brushed her daughter's hair back gently, feeling the warmth of her small body. "We will try our best. That's what matters. Today was just a step. Together, we can make sure our messages are heard." As they walked home, darkness wrapped around them, but within Maria glimmered a spark of hope. Tomorrow would bring challenges, but it also held promise. They were ready. Together, they could redefine what it meant to belong, to fight against doubt not just for the grant but for the future they envisioned for all. As dawn broke on the horizon, Maria felt electricity hum through her veins. She was no longer just a cleaning lady, she was a force for change, a voice representing all who were ready to rise and be heard. And as she stepped into the light, she grasped the importance of their journey. This was only the beginning of rewriting the narrative. Tomorrow, they would seize the moment, refusing to be invisible anymore. Each voice, each story mattered, and together, they would forge a shared destiny. Don't just stand by. Now is the time to act. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support us on this journey. Comment with your thoughts on this incredible transformation. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this change. You need to show your support. This is the moment to be part of something greater. Don't wait not even one more second.